Welcome to Clocking In, Voices of NC Manufacturing. I'm your host, Phil Mintz, Director of the North Carolina Manufacturing Extension Partnership, otherwise known as NCMEP. My role is to drive outreach to NC manufacturers, build relationships to federal and state leaders, and coordinate efforts to drive profitable manufacturing growth in North Carolina. Throughout my time working closely with manufacturers, I have heard the most quirky, curious, and memorable stories. I wanted to turn these stories into a podcast so that others may hear and be informed and inspired. From humble beginnings to manufacturing titans, from tragedy to triumph, I will be interviewing some of these manufacturers who have made North Carolina manufacturing the powerhouse that it is today. Sometimes in manufacturing, you meet a special leader who not only operates a successful factory, but has also made a big commitment to the recognition and continued progress of the industry. Today, we're clocking in with a special voice of North Carolina manufacturing who is a creator, communicator, and a great advocate for the future of making things in our state. Jerry Pedley is the president and owner of Mertek Solutions, a manufacturing systems designer and integrator located in Sanford, North Carolina. Jerry has been in the manufacturing industry for over 45 years and is quite the pillar in his community and throughout the state. He sits on many boards and contributes to lots of advocacy for manufacturing with a focus on actively looking for ways to get young people excited about manufacturing through outreach programs. Jerry and Mertek has won many awards for their efforts, including the North Carolina Science, Mathematics, and Technology Education Center's Outstanding Business Award in 2016, and the Small Business of the Year Award by Business North Carolina Magazine in 2017, where they coined Jerry Pedley as Mr. Robot on the magazine's front cover. I could spend a whole podcast segment just talking about the greatness of Jerry Pedley, but we happen to have him with us today, so you can hear for yourself. Jerry, thanks for taking the time to speak with us. How are you doing?
Doing very good, and I'm looking forward to this podcast. And I'm first of all want to mention thank you for everything that IES does for manufacturing in this state. It's just amazing the things that you guys have accomplished, and I'm proud to be part of this podcast with this group.
Yeah, actually, Jerry, you're a great advocate for us, and you've contributed to our board, and we're really pleased to how you've been kind of hanging around us and giving us some great enlightenment. But Jerry, when I think of you, my mind often flashes to one of the National Manufacturing Day celebrations at your plant, and seeing you serve those hot dogs to busloads of young kids coming through your factory. What got you involved with the development of young people in manufacturing and technology?
Well, I guess I'll say getting involved in the community and youth probably had to do with joining up with our community college 30 years ago now this month, when I called over there and I said, we're starting here in Lee County and we need some employees. And they sent 3 people out the next day, and I think we hired all 3 of them. So we've been involved with youth and education through all that. That started in 1990, and I think maybe we want to give back to the community and to education systems even more. So Manufacturing Day came up how many years ago has that been? Is it 6 or 7 years ago?
It seems like that, yeah.
So we signed up for it, not really knowing what we were getting into, and our vendors really chipped in and supplied things. The hot dogs are provided by one of our suppliers. Suppliers set up booths, they bring robots, so it's become just a mini trade fair. But gosh, I think last year I saw 2 youth walking out, and one of them said, "Wasn't this the best? What do they call a day away from the school?
Field trips."
Yeah, the best field trip ever, as they were walking out. And I thought, well, that made my day. So youth enjoy it. We enjoy giving back, and then on the selfish side of it, we always manage to gain great employees as a result of getting involved in the community and from Manufacturing Day. So it's a good help for us and our resources.
Yes, great. So although you've certainly become an important person in Lee County community and beyond, you're not from around here originally, are you? You tell me you grew up on a farm.
Yes. Oh, see, now I can go on for an hour.
Yeah, well, we'll give you a signal.
Of course, I was raised on the Pedley Dairy Farm, and And very quickly, Mertek is named after Merle Pedley, who ran the Pedley Dairy Farm. So Mertek Merle taught me a very important thing, and that was how to work. And I remember it doesn't matter what's going on in your life or what do you have to do. One thing you need to remember, the cows have to be milked. So it might be a wedding tonight or something else tonight, but first you got to milk the cows. You got to get your job done, and work was very important. And my father had 5 boys, and after 5 boys, they went on to adopt a girl. So that was our family. So he had the blessing to teach us all how to work. Can you imagine having 5 boys on a dairy farm and trying to keep them busy? But
that'd be great.
He was able to do that. And I remember one time I thought maybe I shouldn't. Well, I didn't have a watch, and I wasn't sure about coming home for chores. And there was a neighbor girl, and we had 2 horses, and I rode the horses down and spent the afternoon riding horses around on her farm. I thought it was fun. And then I started riding home. When I got close to home, I realized the cows had already been milked.
Uh-oh.
And I'm thinking, oh my goodness. Well, pretty quick, here come Dad down the road in his old pickup with 3 on the tree, and he taught me a wonderful lesson that you don't want to miss chores. So I didn't ever do that again. So we learned how to work. So the family farm was a good place to work. We got involved in FFA, presidents of the FFA and all of that stuff, and 4-H and all those community involvement things that can groom you for the future and teach you the right things. And then just being raised on a farm and being around business and seeing this guy that's putting a seed in the field, thinking he's going to harvest this in the fall, and the trust that they put in everything, and to do that and run a business like that, there's a lot of great things you can learn just on the family farm.
Were you always involved in inventing and creating things as a kid? How did you get that bug?
I don't know if inventing is the right word, but I like to make stuff, and I like to see things work. I remember as a 14-year-old, I was welding in Dad's shed late at night and building a loading chute to get cows up into a thing. And I just found some old steel and was making it. So I guess I was always involved in those kinds of things. And I think it's cool stuff. Yes.
Yeah. So how did you get from the farm in the Midwest to the great work you're doing at Mertek? I'm sure, how did you get from there to here?
Okay. So I had a job in the Midwest at a company, and I'll make that story brief too, but it was a union company. And I went to work there as a young farm boy, not really knowing what a union was. They said, Mr. Pedley, you're going to join the union. And I said, yes, sir. And then I advanced on, and I became chief steward of the union. I became business manager of the union. I went to the University of Iowa, learned how to negotiate contracts with companies. The company people were our good friends. That plant closed, and I watched 300 good friends get laid off. And so I learned that. Then I was riding with Dad one day. I said, Dad, I've been offered a job in Chicago. And I said, I just don't think I can leave Iowa. I'm a farm boy. I got to stay here. And he said, if you don't go your whole life, all you're going to think about is what if? What if? He said, but if you go and you don't like it, all you got to do is come back home. It's pretty simple. So I decided to move to Chicago and work. I did that for a while, was offered a job in Sanford, North Carolina, moved here in 1989 to work for a wonderful company called Synchro Automation. Unfortunately, times were what they were. And after I was there 6 months, he was in Chapter 11. So they closed, and then we formed Electromechanical Specialties in 1990 and have been here ever since. That's 30 years ago.
Wow. That's great. Well, so today, just so you know, where we are today is that we're continuing to operate in this midst of the coronavirus pandemic, where we've seen manufacturing economy go through a bit of a fluctuation, but during that time, demand for personal protection equipment has gone through a spike. And I think you've pitched in to do some of that, haven't you?
We have a 3D printer, so our guys came up with some models and printed the headband that held a mask, and then they printed a little device that a person could wear behind their head, so they could hook the mask over that instead of over their ears. So little things like that we did, but we've seen changes. I have a lot of product laying in my office here that we've worked on machines, quoting machines, to try to put some of that together. So yeah, we've seen things adjust. The automotive industry was starting to slow down a little bit. We've noticed over the last year, but now we've seen it slow down quite a bit. But we see consumer goods and medical devices coming back up, so everything is going to balance. We're all going to adjust in manufacturing, whatever area you're in, keep things going and be smarter and even better in the future.
So what do you see as the role of kind of automation and robotics, as things move forward? People often want to say that robots and things like that takes the place of jobs, and that's a tough conversation in a lot of circles. What do you say to those types of things?
I think technology is changing, and it's been changing. I think somebody said one time, we were building pyramids with ropes, and we had all these people pulling rocks up the hill, and then somebody invented a wheel, and then a lot of people changed. So a lot of things are changing. This cell phone is changing technology. So I think robots are advancing things just like the car did to the horse market. It's just change. It's progress. It's going to happen. I think robots are creating as many jobs as a lot of things have in the past for us. So I don't think they're taking jobs. I think they're creating jobs. We see our customers that are using robots hiring more and more and more people. They're not putting robots in and reducing force. We need more education, better education that's more technical, so we can support the robots of the future. So it's a growth thing. Things are adjusting, and robots are becoming, even more high tech in the last few years than they have been.
Hey, so have you built any fancy equipment for the Pedley farm since you've been out here going?
No, but there's a market there.
Yeah.
No, I can't think of anything that I've actually got back in the Pedley dairy farm, but I have seen at some shows where they have this wonderful little robotic device now that will milk the cows, and I'm sure my brother would like some of those.
Well, you can make them for him. You got a big plant there.
Yeah, we probably could.
It's kind of hard to work for family sometimes.
Yes. He might not want to pay those bills. He might want his brother to do that for free, huh?
Yeah. So, how long you think you're going to do this, Jerry?
Oh, well, that's a tough question.
We've had this conversation. I want to find out where you are today.
Okay, so today, and I'm not too bashful, but today I'm sitting here at 67 years old. But I come to work, and now I'm thinking like my dad. I have this wonderful job that, it's a half a day job. A half day job to me, you start at 7 in the morning, you work till 7 at night. So that's a pretty easy job. And I come here every day, and I have more fun than anybody should ever deserve to have at work. I work with 40 of the best guys in the world. What I do is fun. And I tell people, if I'm sitting just like this when I'm 85, it's okay. If I never get to retire, I'll be having fun. I'll be enjoying life. It may be the younger generation would like me to move along before that. That would be okay. So I'm having fun. I think it would be hard for me to understand what could be better in retirement than what I'm doing right now. I'm not a guy that's going to sit around and watch TV and take it easy anyway. So I'm enjoying life. Looking forward to the future.
Yeah, it's hard to see you not working at Mertek or working on some kind of a product.
And then we've developed, we've developed the future. We do think about those things. So I have 4 guys, that will take Mertek over. That's already in the plans. We're working on those succession plans. And so we're transitioning to the future, trying to make sure this is all going to work. So succession planning is in effect, and that's a big thing for folks my age with your own business, and how do you work through that? So we are working through it. We're not ignoring it. And we're making plans, and day by day we'll see how they all work.
Maybe let me ask you a little bit about economic development in the area. I know that Lee County and Sanford seems to be kind of a attractive place to go. I mean, you got anything that you're hearing about that's going on in that area?
Well, have you, now here I should all know all these names. What's that? Sixth Thorough, the new company that's the clothing company that's moving here from San Francisco. That was announced last week. They're going to move into the other side of town. We have Pfizer here in town that's doing gene therapy. And now our spec building was purchased by another company from San Francisco that is going to be doing gene therapy. So it's really, really good to see this high-tech industry in Lee County. We have a company called Barak Forge that's coming into town. They're doing aluminum forgings for the automotive industry. They're building a new facility. So yeah, it's good to see Sanford growing like this. And we look forward to the future. So.
Yeah. Well, so before we go, when have you had one of those Davidson steaks?
Woohoo! I think we should have did that for lunch today.
Yeah.
You know, everything is back open now, and I'm sure in the next week or so I will be out to enjoy a Davidson steak. I have my little routine of enjoying wings and maybe a glass of water on Thursday nights. And I'll get to go back and have my wings again tonight. So I haven't been able to do that for a while. So
sounds great. Well, Jerry, you know, it's always a pleasure to talk with you. I mean, you know, we could go on all day, but you know, they tell us we have to cut it off somewhere. So, you know, continued success with the Mertek Solutions, and we look forward to having you around much longer than you say. So.
Well, thank you very much. The future looks bright for everybody. And, you know, I think, like I say, things get better every day. And thank you all for everything.
Thank you for joining today's Clocking In, Voices of NC Manufacturing. This podcast is brought to you by NC State's College of Engineering, the North Carolina Manufacturing Extension Partnership, and Industry Expansion Solutions. If you'd like to learn more about the solutions NCMEP offers, go to www.ncmep.org. Want to listen to previous Clocking In podcasts? Go to ncmep.org/clockingin.